That's last, these have been all at a farm, Latham. And I tell you what, they weren't very big when they went out. What would it be? In latter March, beginning of April. And they went out and they weren't very big at all. But they're fine cattle now. I mean, they're nowhere near fit. I mean, these will be ready in February, I would hope. Such as that fella, Nick Daw. I'm hoping he weighs 700 kilo. Well, late 60s anyway. They aren't as good cattle as last year, I don't think. I mean, price of stars, my dad backed off a bit and bought some plainer stuff like that, Herefordy type. I mean, they'll weigh, but they won't just come to the sort of pound per kilo that such as a real nice limmy will. There is some nice ones, but talking to a pal of mine yesterday, and he's fattening such as these types. He says there's wedges in it, like, I mean, bloody hell, that's a bit hardier than a smooth skin limp. And I think you could have left him out on grass and he'd have done it. He'd have done a bit more on grass, but some of the I mean, it's come warm now, but we're pleased. This bloody haylage we're using, taking it to a few horse customers. Oh, it's beautiful, it really is. You can nearly eat it yourself. Having a walk across some barley, what we drilled, bloody hell, it must be 3 weeks ago. No, a fortnight ago. And just be careful, keep your eye on your crops, because there's a bit of slug damage here. And this is barley, they don't really bother barley, and it was barley last year. But there is a bit of evidence there, that's evidence that slugs have had it. But it's very steady coming out. Yeah, it's coming out and there's plenty of grain. I don't think I'm going to put any pellets on this, but if it was any worse I would. But very steady coming out, which was worried. It was worrying really. Any wheelings, they're really struggling. Yeah, there's loads of growth, look. Down that seam. So now to worry about all that fresh growth, look. And as I say, it's been dry. September was very, very dry. We drilled this into real dry conditions, and it's just really sort of, it's awaking. Somewhere at lighter land came out first, and then all heavy patches. But I'm off around a lot of wheat today and just have a good look, because you can get that busy that you can neglect stuff and end up with the right balls up. So I was talking to someone yesterday about nitrogen prices. Bloody hell, before they've finished it, they'll have a 6 in front of it, I think. They're on about lack of production, no production, stop bringing, I don't know whether it's nitrogen or P and Ks, but they stop bringing it in from China, which is a worry. And 30% come from China, which I didn't know. So whether that's right, I don't know. Just looking at the volume of water coming down this dike, and I mean, it hasn't been that much rain, there's been 50 mil. After a dry spell and land was open, so it's fountain drains and away it goes. And it just made me think of a conversation I had with an idiot in pub once. It was after one of these wet spells, and he was saying, bloody all this flooding's caused by farmers not cleaning their dikes out. Well, bloody hell, have you ever heard such bloody rubbish in all your life? And I tried to explain him, well, we clean our dikes out because we'll run a mini digger down here and just take, you know, any odd ups. So it runs really, you know, sort of fast and shallow, we would like to say, into beck, which goes down into river. And it's totally opposite of what he said, because we look after our water courses and gets the water downhill to the main rivers, which is not to do with us. And that's, the rivers burst their banks. That's where the problem is, because the Environment Agency, who was supposed to be a professional organisation and know it all and do this, do it that, they won't do now to these rivers. They won't dredge them, they won't even take willow trees from down side, so it's all holding flow back. But they can't seem to get that into their thick head. That is the problem. You know, now we've invested £14 million on flood banks to protect a town. So they've built a bit of bloody mound a bit higher, 2 foot higher, because there's 2 foot of silt in the bottom instead of you know, clean the bottom out, and then it'll be deeper to take the water. But you can't seem to get that into the head. Oh, there might be some newts, there might be this, there might be that. I don't know. The country's going to pot, innit? But yeah, put some farmers in charge, or some blokes what have been among rivers and dikes and ditches all their lives, you know, who know what they're doing. I mean, majority of people we see down this beck, which is Environment Agency are in charge of it, they've got a clipboard rather than a digger, and you think, well, what are you actually doing? But anyway, rant over. But yeah, so all this water, back to the idiot. I explained to him all this water's going down to the dike, going down to the river, and that's causing the problem. But no, he wasn't having it. Right, you see that outfall there, which just wants, I want to come back with a shovel and just clean it off. You see how it's bubbling up? Let me get a bit closer for you. See how it's bubbling up, that's draining this field. And I think it's coming from my drain over there. Because that was a massive, well, it was a lake yesterday morning and it's nearly gone. So I think my drain's been a success. But it's coming out nicely, this barley now. I was a bit worried that it was coming about a bit liney, but certain coulters are a bit deeper than others. And I don't know why. Our Bardestad's always been a bit like that. Once it's fully emerged, it looks a picture, but it always comes out a little bit patchy. But yeah, very, very pleased with this. So a bit squelchy underfoot though, so land is filling up. I know I keep going on about my drain, but I'm quite excited about it. Like, it's full to brim, right? Can you see the flow? Can you see things in the water moving? The flow's unbelievable. How much water it's taking. So it's been a success. Can you see stuff moving? Yeah, and this is filtering it out a bit because I've just cowled a bit of stuff like that out. Because it's sort of silted itself up. But I didn't want all that silt to go down my drain. I think it'd be alright actually, because I think it's flowing that fast that it'll flush it out anyway. But yeah, success. So what did it take me? Bloody an hour and a half. An hour and a half's work will probably save me, I think, in a wet time, two acres of corn here. So yeah, very, very pleased with myself. In fact, there's a few other places I'm going to do next year. Just been washing stuff off, bloody hell. Seem to attract muck me. But yeah, he's bought a few things what we bought at Merton Livestock's machinery sale the other day. Simba Top Till, they were quite popular in its time. And bloody good and all. Look at it, it's very, very genuine. Real straight. It hasn't seen a lot of work, that. So yeah, we'll wash it up. I don't think it'll sell, well, it's too wet for such as that, this back end, but Phil wants to keep it, but I don't know. I'd like to try it, but so that's for sale. Bought a flexi coil drill, mate. That bloody thing. It's a bale elevator. Put that end in your stack or through your hole in your barn, and away you go. Straw woofler. Dad's on about keeping that. He wants to keep that for our own use. We've knackered our single rotor rake this time, so we have to replace it with something. We've been doing it with twin rotor rake, which is totally unnecessary, and got all sorts of stuff really. So bloody hell, right, I'm off to have a look at some land and see if it'll dry, because it's drying out fast. And if it'll drill, sorry, might have a go at drilling tomorrow. Let's see. What am I getting in this one for? Wrong one. Yeah, this bloody little loader. Shouldn't show you that door missing, but I should show you that. Yeah, it's been on farm since new, that little class loader. In fact, my dad bought that when our Oliver, me and when Nicola was in hospital having Oliver. Bought it that day, went down to Seward's and bought it. Class Eastern, Count Road. Yeah, but it's a strong little loader. Lifted that off wagon. Or off low loader. No problem whatsoever. And it must weigh 2.5 ton, and we've got boom halfway out. It was a bit light on back end, but it just lift for England. It's got a bigger lift than Manitou, and that's a bigger machine. So, but yeah, quite impressive. Right, I'll go and have a look at Oh dear, lovely day. It's quite nice weather, so we maybe have brought them in a week or two early, but there wasn't a lot of grass anywhere where they were, so grass quality's gone at this time of year. So they'll probably do better inside. But all we give them now is a ration of rolled barley, bit of wheat and a few oats with some minerals and silage in that feeder. Well, it's actually haylage, it's real dry. But that's all they'll get till Christmas, and then they'll do a bit of growing, and in fact they'll do a lot of growing by Christmas. And then after Christmas we'll either get a miller mix in who puts molasses in with her barley. We usually use 90% or 80% barley, 20% wheat, and then mix some concentrates, quite a high protein concentrate in with it, and a little bit of molasses to just make it more appetizing. But last year we didn't do that, and to be fair they did as well. We've got these, I think there's about 30 in here, and then there's about 60 down at other farm. So we usually have 90, 100 on all the time. And you know, not in a massive way, and we don't do it, we do it very old fashioned. But it works. Like by the time we get to March, February, March, some of these will be weighing 650, 700 kilo wheel. I mean, there will be your 550s and your 600s, your smaller ones. Like him, he'll be a plain one. He'll never make a good one. There's a couple like him, but some of these Charolais and limmies, you'd hope, would weigh 650, 700 kilo, and they'll be about 20 2-year-olds, something like that. So, but no, they're quite happy in there. I mean, we've got we feed a lot of, well, we'll stop feeding silage after Christmas, and I'll give them barley straw. Hey, it works for us, like, seems to leave a bit of profit. But yeah, well, little class loader, it's handy having a second loader. I mean, for what it's worth, it might as well stay. We were on about getting something better, but hours, bloody hell, the hour clock's been broke about 6 years, and it's reading 9,000 hours. So what it's done, I don't know. And it's a Sanderson TL6, probably one of the latest ones ever built. And it's a shame that Sanderson went, really, because there was hundreds of them. And yeah, the TL6 was the last Sanderson to be designed. And yeah, good loader, bit tight to work on. Perkins phaser engine, 4-cylinder phaser, about 100 horsepower. And lift, bloody hell, little lift. Really is a strong little loader. And we haven't had a lot of problems with it. It's had the usual bloody starter motor and brakes done. And there's a lot of wearing pins and one thing and another. It needs a bit of money spending on it, really, but my dad was on about changing it for something better. But what do? Do you buy someone else's problems? We know all the problems with this. And it's just handy. It's just abused, though. No one looks after it. Look, it's just full of shite. Yeah, 9,000 hours, and it's been, honestly, it's been bust 6 years. But if you ever have to do out to engine, oh, there's no room in there whatsoever. Just needs tidying up. This winter we're going to get it in workshop. We're going to put doors back on. Battery box bloody thing. That's nearly a fire hazard. Window wiper don't work. That wants to get going. A few oil pipes need replacing. Lights need looking at. And it'll do us a couple more years. There is a problem with it's letting diesel into oil, and it does smoke a bit occasionally. We have to change oil regular, and it's the oil seal behind the fuel pump, which is quite a big job. But it is on Frank's list. He's going to sort it out for us. But as I say, for what it's worth, it's going to stay. But right, I'll get some work done. Right, if you like these videos, like and subscribe, and we're going to do a couple of 3 a week and see how it goes. We're getting a few subscribers now. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and then you get notifications of what we do. So right, I'll crack on. Bye for now.